Throughout this course, we have been learning about ways that we can teach and support learners in emergency settings. However, maybe the most important thing we can teach you is about the importance of self-care. Teaching is hard. In a recent study, 75% of teachers reported that they felt a high level of stress every day. In fact, they felt just as much stress in their work as nurses do. Teaching is even more difficult if we are teaching in an emergency setting. Today, I want to talk to you about secondary trauma, compassion fatigue, and burnout. Then we will spend a little time learning about self-care and how self-care can help us with our emotional health. Secondary trauma is often called vicarious trauma. This is the trauma we feel when someone else shares their trauma with us. Our lives are not in danger, but someone else's life is or has been in danger, and we are emotionally affected by it. People with secondary trauma may experience physical problems like being unable to eat or sleep. They might have an increased heart rate. They might even feel guilty about feeling stress because they believe what they feel is not as bad as the problems that were shared with them. This is called minimizing our own stresses, or believing that they do not matter. If we have secondary trauma, we may be affected in the same ways that people with primary trauma are affected. People with secondary trauma might have trouble with paying attention. They might have trouble with abstract reasoning and with memory. So, as you can see, secondary trauma is a very real and serious problem. Compassion fatigue is connected to secondary trauma, but it's a little different. Fatigue means tired, and this is a kind of tiredness. Compassion fatigue is when so many students have shared their traumas with us that we begin to lose our empathy and sensitivity to it. Compassion fatigue brings overwhelming feelings of helplessness and powerlessness. When we have compassion fatigue, we become overwhelmed and exhausted with work. We lose our ability to care or feel anything at all, even about our students. We know that caring about our students is what allows us to be good teachers, so compassion fatigue is a very serious problem too. Finally, while compassion fatigue and secondary trauma are sometimes connected with burnout, burnout is very different. Burnout usually refers to a state of exhaustion that happens after a stressful time. Burnout makes us lose our motivation and commitment to our work. Burnout is connected to the general stresses of work, and it builds up over time. Unlike with secondary trauma, usually taking a weekend away from work or a vacation can help us to recover from feelings of burnout and to get back our motivation. A weekend away from our work will not necessarily help with secondary trauma, though. When students share their stories with us, it is an honor and a privilege. It means that we have developed powerful and supportive relationships. However, we must take steps to help ourselves so we can continue to help others. As flight attendants say when we are on a plane, put your own oxygen mask on first. We have to take care of ourselves first in order to have the energy to do good work for and with others. The first thing we can do is to model the good self-care strategies that we want our students to follow. We need to remind students and ourselves that when we are stressed, often the first things we ignore are the things that will actually help us the most, like sleeping, eating well, exercising, and taking time for moments of joy. We can practice breathing activities and focus on gratitude and hope. Research shows us that one of the best ways to help with secondary trauma, compassion fatigue, and burnout is connecting with others who are going through something similar. If we can make some time to talk with our colleagues, sharing our victories and challenges, that can help us to recover, heal, and increase energy and motivation. We feel stronger when we know we aren't alone. I hope you have friends at work who encourage and support you, and that you are able to take time to take care of yourselves, especially during stressful times.